Well, first off, I know a few faces in here, which is cool, but a lot of you I don't know. So it's kind of cool to be able to hear everyone's name. I'm terrible at remembering names, so if you raise your hand, I probably won't be able to call you by name, but I at least remember what you said for the most part. So again, thank you for having me here, and thanks for the library for having me. I also just want to applaud everyone for being here because, you know, if you grow, then your organization can grow, which then means you can reach more people, which is awesome. So hopefully I can at least provide some insight for you today that you can take away and just, you know, take to what you do with your organization and then now allow you to reach more people. Before we get started, just a show of hands, who here currently does any form of video marketing for their organization? Okay, I saw like one hand, I think. So, two. Who's okay? So those who are raising your hand, keep your hand up. Keep your hand raised if you're like excited about what you're doing with your video marketing. Like, it's we got the iffy, yeah.
Intern doing it for us.
Okay, well, hey, that's a start, right? Yeah.
You don't want to not
It's actually good because it shows I'm in the right room. Because if all of you kept your hands raised, then I'd be like, I don't know why I'm even here. You don't need anything I'm providing. So let me get my slides up here. I'm going to be a little disjointed because I got my notes on my computer, but I'm using this. So if I might be a little disjointed, but I'm going to make it work. So cool. So what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is basically 3 excuses that organizations give for not doing video and why I think they're lame. Let me see, can I click? Okay. So do you guys remember the first time you made a client cry? Hopefully for a good reason. So a lot of times when people meet me, they assume, you know, I'm a techie, which obviously I know the tech and everything, but really that's not what our business is about. Our business is about telling stories and evoking emotion. And if we make a video and it doesn't evoke emotion, it's kind of pointless to have. So, you know, like we're looking to create happiness, we're looking to create anger maybe, nostalgia, sadness. We're trying to evoke something. And for me, I discovered this very early on. You know, I've been doing this since I officially started my career in 2011. I was already kind of dabbling a little bit before then. But I was making some videos for my church, and I noticed, you know, by creating a video, it would evoke some kind of emotion. Sometimes it was people would cry, they'd be happy, but it would essentially result to some kind of emotion. And I was hooked from then because then I realized, okay, I'm not just making videos because they're cool, the videos are serving a purpose. Like I said, I'm trying to do both, so I keep forgetting. Oh, I got to switch that slide too. So real quick, I'll kind of give a quick summary of who I am. Someone gave me a piece of advice. If someone's going to tell you something, at least like know something about them first to make sure they're credible. So hopefully this will make me sound credible. But my name again is Travis Eberling. I'm local to the area. I live in Hoffman Estates. Before then, I was in Rolling Meadows, and then before then, I was in Central Illinois. So I've always been in Illinois. Been up here for about almost 20 years at this point, crazy enough. But I've been married to my wife for almost 10 years. We have 2 kids. We just had our second, so I'm a little sleepy normally, as you could probably imagine. But it's been a lot of fun. I started my career in 2011. Started out basically just freelancing. I actually did a lot of animation back then too, so I would do like motion graphics, graphic design type stuff. But I would also film stuff and I would photograph things. And pretty early on, I got asked to film my first wedding, which that's where a lot of us sometimes start, is filming weddings. And immediately I fell in love with it because I fell in love with the emotion that you could kind of drive from someone by capturing this day. And as that's progressed, we've just tried to go like, what can we do to like top that, you know? So like even in our weddings, a lot of times we deliver like a teaser to the couple the day of the wedding. So they're like in that emotion, they get to see the things they missed and to be a part of that. And so, you know, I was doing the weddings. As I was doing the weddings, I also on the side would do other types of video production. So videos for businesses, nonprofits. I actually tried to avoid the nonprofits at first because I didn't really know what a nonprofit was, and they had nonprofit in their name. So I assumed they didn't have money to hire us, so I would avoid them. And then I found, oh no, like sometimes you get grants, and the grants pay for the videos and things like that. So that's how I got started. So I was doing all the weddings, I was doing them on the side, and then it was 2019, a friend of mine from college calls me up. He just took a position at the American Lung Association overseeing their media department, and they needed to film a bunch of stuff. So they basically tested me out for one project. It went really well, and I started basically traveling in the United States to do stuff for the American Lung Association. And I learned a lot about nonprofits, kind of how they ran. Obviously, it's a very large corporation, but like it's still at its core a nonprofit. And so I learned a lot about doing that. And then when I kind of wrapped up that contract with them, I realized like, okay, I want to do more nonprofit stuff, but I want to help like smaller ones, ones that are local to my area. So I took a lot of that knowledge I had, and that's what we've been doing for a lot of our clients, are creating videos like that for smaller nonprofits, the stuff that we learned from ALA. So I want to get into this so I can give you guys some information. So, I hear a lot of different excuses, but typically these are the three most common excuses I hear, and I want to give you guys like a way to not have these excuses, basically. So first excuse I hear all the time: I hate the way I look and sound on camera. So typically, if we take maybe we take a selfie of ourselves, or someone takes a photo of us, and we think we look good, and then we see the photo and we look kind of like this. Most of the time it's not you. Like, you do look good, and it's not the phone. These phones are like phenomenal at what they can do. A lot of times it's just the environment we're in, and we're not always educated on how to shoot in the best light. Like even in here, we got mixed light, you got window light, you got that. Like, I'm probably not going to look as flattering as if I like stood right next to that window light and had nice natural light coming on me. Also, sometimes people just don't realize the distractions that can happen with audio. Like, they're not using a proper microphone. They're in a room where there's like kids crying or screaming. Like, there's just little things that we could kind of pick up on to get better at. And obviously, having a professional is going to solve those things. But I know that's not always the case for all of us. We can't always hire a professional. If you can get a professional, obviously that's going to help you look and sound great because they're trained to do that. But if you can't get a professional, one thing I recommend is hiding yourself. So if you don't like the way you look on camera, even with great lighting or whatever, there's other things that you can show in your organization. It doesn't have to be your face. And maybe it is your face for 10 seconds, but even most of the videos we do, we might show the CEO, the founder, like whoever it is, but then we're covering them up with B-roll. And essentially what B-roll is like, the A-roll would be like the interviews, so like the talking head. The B-roll would be everything you're showing to illustrate that. So like if, say, you help, kids get, bikes that can't afford bicycles, like you're showing those kids receiving those bikes, and we might hear someone talking in the background, but we're covering that up. Now, let's say you don't like the way you sound or look, and you don't want to be in the video at all. Well, that actually could work out even better in your favor, because then what I always recommend is to do testimonials and have other people speak for you, because there's way more power in, I can talk all day about what my business does, but if you watch a video of a client we've worked with and how we impacted them, that's going to be way more powerful. So that's something where, if you really don't want to be on camera, it's not a problem. Get other people to be your spokesperson for you. So, and so I have an example then. Let me click one more time. Oh, so it's going faster than it should. Oh, it's going to the end. Oh, spoiler alert, we're going to the end. Let me see if it'll go back. I don't know if the video, okay, that's all right. That one, I kind of explained it pretty well, so we don't need to see it. Sorry. There should be a video there, but it's not popping up.
We'll see it at the end.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
This day has been about 10.
It does not like me.
Yeah. Normally it's pretty seamless.
Oh, it's kind of there. We'll try to come back to it. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one then. So let me get my notes back here again. All right, so excuse number 2 that I hear often is I don't have time. As we all know, we're living in 2025. Everyone's always busy. There's always things distracting us. But have you stopped to think if maybe some of the things you're doing are not beneficial for your business or for your organization? What I do myself every year is I take an audit of what we're doing and what things I could cut off. And if it's something where it's not maybe producing any results or not a lot of results, I'll remove those things and then I will double down on the things that are working for us. So like for us, example in my own business, networking is great for our business, so I keep it around, but it's not the most important thing. Like where we get a lot of our leads is Google, YouTube, past clients, things like that. So I try to nurture those. So that means I lean into those a lot more. And then, I might try out some networking group. It's not working. I get rid of it, the following year. And that allows me to have more time to make even content for our own business because, I have to also promote myself. So I have to also do video. So it's a good reminder of like, I should cut things out to make room for that. And if you still don't have time after cutting things out, then I highly recommend outsourcing it. And I know that comes back then to the issue of, well, maybe we can't find someone or maybe we don't have the budget for it. But I have a stat up there and it's basically 87% of people say that video marketing gave them a positive ROI. And this was mostly businesses pulled, but I think it applies very strongly to nonprofits too. And so when you have a stat like that, I think it's worth the effort to try to find room and a budget to fit some kind of video in, even if you're starting out doing it yourself. And again, if you don't have the time to do it for yourself, to try to find something that you could remove so you could fit in, an hour a week to do some videos or something like that.
Or can I just say,
Yeah.
Beth, your teenage intern. I mean, that's another
Yeah.
thing. That's such a great idea for this.
Hope he delivers,
Yeah. Don't let the teenage intern, the other Beth.
Awesome. Excuse number 3, I don't have the budget. And that's actually a good segue because I was going to bring up something like that where like you might not always be able to hire like the top tier professional, but there are a lot of, especially students, I would say more so now than ever, that are really intrigued by video or photography and they want to do more and they have to build a portfolio. So for you to be able to provide work for them is a way for them to build a portfolio. And there's a little cheat for them that they probably don't even know that, they could technically look at that as like they're donating to your organization, by them doing that. And so, that's a really good place to start. But also, the good thing is that we're not all looking to do a Super Bowl ad. We're not all needing to necessarily do the biggest production. We can always start somewhere small. And what's great is most of the tools out there, you can find free versions of it. And where you're posting all your content is going to be free too. So, YouTube is free, Facebook is free, Instagram is free. You can literally pull out, most of us have a 4K camera right here. We could pull it out, start making something. It's free to post it. And there's so many free apps and stuff out there. Let's say you do a speaking thing just like this and you have someone show up and record it, even if it's just with their phone. There's an app called Opus Clip that will then take that long form video and chop it up for you automatically, add captions. It'll even help you figure out which sections of that you can use to, that will do best with SEO and stuff. Now that's a program you do have to pay for, but it's it's like $100 a year or something like that to have something basically do the editing for you of your recordings. But then there's even free stuff out there too that you can find all the time. There's stuff like Canva has video editing in it now, I think. And obviously there's a premium of Canva, but you also have a free version of it too. So there's so many ways to get started with what you have. And it might not compare to a professional, but you can always scale into that. That's what's great about production. That's what I always tell. Anytime we get an inquiry, I always want to know about what they're trying to do because there's so many ways to do a video where it could be just hey, you don't need me right now. Let me just do a consultation with you. I'll come into your office, figure out where we should put your camera, where the lighting should be, how to handle audio, and I'll let you just do your thing. But then we also have ones that they need us to make 20 videos for them, and it's a huge series of stuff. So it can scale depending on you. It's not okay, video is going to cost me this. It's you could probably find an alternative or do a mix of different things. And I actually have an example of that as well. So as one of our clients, Head Start, so I'll just play a little clip. So this is a more professional facing video that we did for them.
Other kids that went to Head Start. I was a Head Start student as well. The education department works closely and collaboratively with the school district, so we use Grand Curriculum as well as our surrounding school districts. Some of the things that we do in our classroom is we have large learner time, we have small group time where we focus on different skills, like math skills, literacy skills. It's a busy day.
So we were able to do something like that for them, and we created a series of videos out of that one shoot we did for them. But they have stuff going on all the time. They can't afford for us to come in like every single day and film stuff. So we had also just kind of got them set up to do their own content, which is free, essentially. Hold on one second. And so they do these videos as well, and they're not as powerful, they're not like necessarily as engaging, but it's just a way for them to still continue to market themselves with video without needing us all the time.
With the kids, and also there's that one schedule, everybody starts at the same time, everybody leaves at the same time, because that program is super organized.
Whoop. Cool.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So do you script out and talk ahead about, you know, and the people are, you're kind of acting, or is there any preparation? Or
Yeah.
you just kind of say, generally, here's what we're going to talk about, and then you capture them?
It can vary. It depends how hands-on the organization might be, because we work with some organizations where they have a full marketing team and they just don't have the video capacity. So they know what they need, they know the message, and they just kind of bring us in to push the buttons and stuff. But I would say most of the organizations we work with are more like smaller, mid-sized. So they maybe have someone who knows a little bit more about marketing, maybe on the board, but they're not like doing that all the time. So they really need someone to figure out like, okay, what's the story? How do we put this all together? So to give you an example, I mean, this is a very large example, but one of our clients, Sertoma Star Services, they recently merged with, well, they were a different name. They merged with another organization, and that's their new name. But they needed to make almost like 15 different videos. So we had to really be prepared, because as you can imagine, 15 videos, there's going to be tons of interviews we need to do. There's so much B-roll. There's old, like previous content we have to find, like history stuff. And so we had to get very organized from the start. So I mean, we probably invested just like 15 hours of our time just pre-productioning everything out. Like, when are we going to shoot? What videos do we need? How are we going to figure these things out? So we can definitely help with that. We prefer when we can help with that. But again, sometimes we work with organizations where they already have someone doing that. That's like their role. So they just need us to come in and, you know, do the little thing.
You mentioned that, I mean, most of us in the room are small
Yeah.
organizations, and so we're not gonna be as sophisticated.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a little intimidating, because people are like, oh, like we're investing all this time in pre-production, but then it saves so much time on the back end, because then when we're doing these most of the interviews we do them more conversational. We don't really like people reading scripts, because your average person, they're gonna struggle with that. But if you sit them down and they're just talking to someone, they eventually forget the lights and cameras are on, and they just start opening up. And so that's usually how we go about getting those voice samples, essentially. But we have like questions kind of prepared, and how we're going to kind of branch with those questions. But then, because we've done all this preparing, when we get to the editing phase, like there's almost no revisions, because we know what the narrative is, we know what we're looking for. So we usually send it over to the organization, and there might be like a few things like, oh, that staff member didn't like the way their hair looked. You know, it's like usually like silly things like that. It's not like, oh, the message is totally wrong. You know, like we've kind of nailed that. So even though we spend a lot of time up front, we then save a lot of time when we're filming and we're editing. So yeah, of course. So I have a bonus excuse in here. I know there's 3, but I put together another one too. So this is usually where we end up. So a lot of times people will get over the other 3 excuses. You know, they start feeling comfortable on camera, they find time to make the videos, and then they they find maybe funding to do the videos, or they're just doing the free route and doing the free tools they have. But then they don't know what to film or what to create. And so what I actually have for all of you in the room, I have a free guide that I put together. So at the end, I'm going to have my email address. If that would be something that would be helpful for you, just send me an email and I'll get that over to you. But it's basically just some ideas of videos that you could come up with. And these are things you could do yourself. You don't need to like hire someone for. And then I'll even kind of include a stat of like how beneficial I think they are. Because there's a lot of videos I know sometimes we're told to do, but then you find, oh, well, that wasn't really worth the time, or it gets like 2 likes. So I even kind of like put like examples of like when we've done these videos, this is how it performed versus like doing this kind of video. So if you guys want that at the end, I'll have my email address that I can give that to you. So again, the freedom of video creation is endless. Like I was mentioning earlier, this can scale to you. So like if you don't have the budget to hire someone professional, maybe you at least have the budget to hire them to consult for you, like to come in, help you figure out like how to shoot stuff, what you should shoot. And if you still don't have the budget for that, at least get started yourself. I mean, it can be as simple as like, you know, taking a client or a consumer that you have that you've benefited, and you're going to see them at like the next gala or the golf outing, and just being like, hey, like I know you're going to be there. Can I like come up to you? I have a, you know, I bought a little microphone like this, and I have my phone. Can I just like record you like talking about our organization? And then there's so many like free or like pretty inexpensive tools out there that you could drop them into and it'll chop it up for you. So just at least getting started with something, I say, is worth it. They say, I'm going to read the stats, I don't get it wrong, billions of hours of video is being consumed every year, and the statistic shows that 3 out of 4 people are more likely to share video content than any other form of content. And yeah, like I still see people just posting photos, which is nothing wrong with photography. Like we do photography too. There's a place for that. But when, you know, 3 out of 4 people are more likely to share a video versus like a photo, and you even hear, I mean, this has been like a few years now, but you even hear platforms like Instagram, they say, we're not a photo first platform, we're a video platform. So if you want to reach more people, it's not going to work with just photography. You need to like start showing yourself with video. So hopefully, you know, if you had any of these excuses, hopefully I gave you some ammunition to not have those excuses anymore. And what I would like to do now is just thank you guys for your time, but then also if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to kind of open this up to Q&A. I didn't want to talk too long because I did want to provide time just to like answer any questions you might have and just be able to help you out. I'm a totally open book, so any way I can assist you guys, I would love to. But thanks again for having me. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that this library has wonderful video resources.
Oh, that was in my thing, and I missed it when I was. So I wanted to bring up, there is a pamphlet I even saw over there too for the studio, that they have the studio in here. So like I was saying, there really are like no excuses to at least try something on your own, because there's so many like places you can go to get resources. So even if like you don't know how to use this, you can always come in here and make something great.
And the library in the studio, you know, it's got like all the equipment that you would need, you know, even down to like green screens and lighting and sound, and there's a whole production studio. Like it's got all that stuff, and it's got the software as well. Like if you don't have like, you know, some of the software that you're like, oh, I want to, whatever they are, they have those as well. But there's also library of things, so you can actually check a lot of that stuff out if you're like, but I need it to be at our site, you know, or I want to be outside in the park where the kids are or something. You know, like you can get a lot of the equipment, you can actually check it out as like you would a book or something. So just know that that kind of stuff could also, again, if you can get over these ideas, you know, these reasons, and then you're like, I'm going to try and do this, like there also might be equipment that.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah.
So I have millions of ideas for videos that I want to do.
So you don't need the guide, because you.
Well, I would like to see what works and what doesn't work. I guess my question is, what would be the most easiest platform or app or whatever it is to use for editing? Because that's where I'm running into trouble. Is like not figuring out how to edit things because I just computer literate.
Yeah, depending on, you know, obviously skill set is important. I where I would kind of default is like the Adobe suite, and it's not like they've become so well like organized, where even like Premiere is the video editing software within Adobe, and like when you first open Premiere, like there's so many like tutorial videos it gives you, where even if you're not doing the super in-depth features, it'll get you started. And to me, those are always the easiest way, because you just have that control of like, I'm going to drop this in, I'm going to cut it how I want. Now, a lot of the more like free stuff is going to be limited, or like the cheaper stuff will be limited. Like I know there's CapCut, if you guys are familiar with CapCut, but we lost CapCut for a little while because I guess it's associated with TikTok. But now it's back, but then it might go away again. So I wouldn't really put like all my eggs in that basket. But there are other things like that. I can, if it's helpful, I can send you like a list of some other like software that I know of too. I know even like Adobe, they do have some free versions of things you can get on your phone. Like I think it's like Adobe Rush as well, so if you're editing on your phone. Also, even just some of the apps themselves, you can do some splicing. So like if you're posting something to Instagram, you can actually cut up your video inside of Instagram. And so if you did that, you could also save it then, and then if you're going to save it, share it to other platforms, it's already cut up. I don't recommend doing that through TikTok, because TikTok will actually watermark your video with TikTok if you edit it in there. But the other platforms, as far as I know, they don't do any kind of watermarking like that. So
Can I just ask
yeah.
Travis, it says that all of our studios have Adobe Creative Cloud.
Yep. So that would get you Photoshop, Illustrator,
That would have those.
Premiere, like pretty much like any photo video editing, that would have everything. Yeah, if you're not familiar too, Adobe now is cloud-based, so it's like subscription-based. So it used to be like you could just buy like CS6 and then you could use it till you felt like it expired. Now it's all subscription-based, like a lot of things are. So in a way, it's, for someone like me who's using it all the time, it's a little like annoying, because it's like I'd rather just buy the software and then we're good. But it is good if you like to make the entry of, your entry in a little bit easier, because you might only want to use it for like a month, and you're just going to film a bunch of stuff and you're going to edit for a month. So that's like $5 a month, and you're good, and then you could just get rid of the subscription until you need it again. I forgot to mention the software too. So there's also DaVinci Resolve. It's made by Blackmagic. They actually start out free, and it's just like Premiere. And then the only reason you would need to pay for that one is if you need to utilize things like 4K and like some of their more like special effect features they have. But as far as just editing video, that one is totally free as well. And it's a little more confusing than Premiere, but if you're just starting out, I would almost say that might be the better software to learn. So
What's it called again?
Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve. Oh, cool.
Based on
Something new.
videos. But I played with that one.
Yeah.
And the Canva professional version, or the
Yeah.
Premiere, it's all free for nonprofits.
Yeah.
Really? I should have known that.
That's a good
Yeah.
So if you want the Canva
Yeah.
advanced version, that's free for
Yeah. They always say the speaker learns something.
The speaker learned something.
Bro, yeah. I love Canva. I didn't know that you could edit videos in it.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, and even Canva has video templates like that you can start with. So, you can be like, I want an announcement type post, and then you can find something to kind of start with and then just implement like your brand colors and stuff. And now, that's like a big step, because like, a lot of people don't make like a photo in Canva. So they have like a gala or a golf outing, they make a flyer in Canva. But then you can just like animate it and take it a few steps further. And now when you post it, you could post it as a reel on Instagram, which is going to get a lot more traction than just like posting it as a photo. So, yeah.
First thing to try, yeah.
Yeah.
How popular is the videos on barcoding for like cards?
Like the QR codes,
Yeah.
like having a video there.
Correct. Like they have an elevator pitch in the back of the card.
I think it depends what it's being used for. Like if you were promoting an event and you wanted like somewhere for someone to go, I think there's some benefit to that. Like if if this say takes you to a landing page, I wouldn't say it's just a video, but like if you're being taken to like a landing page that has more about the event, and then like right at the beginning there's a video, the chances of someone taking interest in the event increases drastically by having that video, because I don't know what it is, but I guess it must be the phones, but like our attention spans just keep lowering. Like I think we're below goldfish at this point. So I think that's actually true. So like there's text there, which is great if someone wants to read it, but then to have that video right front and center that explains everything about the event goes a long ways. Plus you can promote it in fun ways. So like one of the companies we do stuff for, they host events for realtors like every quarter. And so they have us film the recap video, which is cool, but they also have us do a video before the event announcing the event. So then whenever they send out the Eventbrite, it's not just like, here's the information, here's the time, here's the day. Here's like this fun little video too. And like usually there's some kind of catch to the video or something, and that, it's nothing like super high professional, but it's like just a little extra pizzazz to get people interested in the
Stands
event.
out.
Yeah.
Do you recommend for organizations like this those short form, like those reel, and like a lot of times when
Yeah.
you're talking about this, you're just talking about these short little.
Yeah, so there's kind of two places for both types of content. I mean, there's all sorts of content, but if I had to kind of put it at a high level, there's the professional produced content, and then there's like the more raw, authentic, real. You don't really want to be too much in the middle, because like I feel like if you're in the middle, it comes off like it's not super authentic, but then also it doesn't look super professional. Yeah, so you don't usually want to be in the middle. You kind of want to be in one lane or the other, or have a mix of both, like I showed with like Head Start. So the higher end production stuff, usually when we're making that, it's meant to be more of like a timeless, or at least like a longer life shelf video. So they are maybe investing a little more in it, but it's something that like they're going to use on their website for years. It's like explaining something, or they're using it for like a charity event. Like we have a client, we're going to be making a video for their golf outing. So it's this video they're going to play before anyone speaks, just to kind of like set the tone of the room. So I think those need to be professional, and sometimes they can be a little longer, and that's totally fine because the environment you're in. But then when it comes to a lot of like the social media stuff, that more raw, authentic, I think actually does better. I mean, ironically, even in our own business, like if I post like something super professional and polished, it doesn't always get the most views. If I post like a really dumb, like trending thing, like it gets like 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 views. So like it pains me to say that, but there is something to that with like social media. You usually do want to be shorter, more raw, more authentic. But then when you are like fundraising, or you're trying to tell a story, or you want something on your website, it does need to have more of a polished look. And it can be longer too, because people are more invested. So. Yeah.
Okay, so the Instagram reels that
Yeah.
I'm making on my phone, they frustrate me because all the editing has to be on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm a screen kind of person. I just do better when I'm editing. Like, when I tried the DaVinci
Right.
things, it made a lot more sense to me because I could see it. Can I edit reel on my computer screen?
Yeah, you just want to make sure you're in the right format. So like, I'm sure I've done a little bit with DaVinci. I'm not like an expert. I mostly use Premiere, but like Premiere, what I just do is I make a timeline that's the resolution of a reel, which would be, it's like the reverse. So like if you're familiar with resolutions, 1080p HD is 1920 by 1080. That's how you get that like wide format. So you just kind of reverse it. So it's 1080 by 1920, and now you have real format, like that vertical format, and then you would just edit within that. So then if like your footage doesn't fit, you can kind of shift it around and stuff, and then basically export it. I don't know if DaVinci has this. It might be a part of the premium, but Premiere even has like an auto adjuster. So like when we do a video that's 1920, so like your traditional film format, we can like basically right click, hit a button, and it turns it into a real format, like that vertical format, and it'll auto move footage around for me. It's not perfect. I still have to do a lot of it manually, but at least gets you like started. So yeah, that's the easier way to do it, because yeah, if you're just editing it widescreen, you're not really going to know what it's going to look like once you take it to Instagram and it crops it. So. But I do recommend, this also pains me to say because I prefer the wide format, if you are doing social media, especially Instagram, to just have it full vertical. Like don't do like, this was a wide video and now you have the black bars, because that hurts the visibility of it, because Instagram knows that stuff. So it's like, oh, well, this isn't really made for Reels, and it kind of puts you to the side. It's better to take up that full real estate of the screen. Yeah, the algorithm knows that like this video doesn't actually fit in the screen, so it might be like an afterthought video, and they don't, it's not a reel, and so they kind of throw it off to the side. Whereas like if you're utilizing the full space, they're like, oh, this is a reel. Let's put it in Reels. So
The overlords want it to be a certain.
right. I wish we could just have everything that screen format and we'd all be happy, but unfortunately our phones are like this most of the time, not this. So yeah.
When I'm looking at a video, how can I tell that it was professional versus raw? What's the difference?
That's kind of an eye thing, I guess. Like if you don't see the difference, it's almost a blessing in a way, because I see the difference all the time. But I would say actually the biggest thing people notice first is sound before anything. Like an untrained eye might not know, okay, is this with a phone, is this not? But they can notice right away if it's bad audio, like if the person's echoey, or like I can't understand them, or they're uncomfortable like talking. Like it's not just the way the quality of the audio sounds, it's also just how the person's speaking. Like were they interviewed properly? Were they just reading off a script? Like those are the things I think people pick up on first. And then there's that next layer of the professionalism, which 9 times out of 10, the thing people notice that maybe don't know they notice is the lighting. So like we get compliments a lot of times on our videos, like, oh, that video looks great. What camera do you shoot on? But the camera wouldn't make a difference. Like, I could use a professional camera right now. It's going to look fine, maybe a little better than this, but it's not going to look amazing because I'm not in like good lighting. So that's the thing I think people notice that they don't realize that's what they're noticing is the lighting. Also, then you have like the camera movement itself is kind of the next layer. So if it's super shaky, often that comes across as amateurish. But if like, say it's very smooth movement, it's planted on a tripod, it's subtle movements, like that's usually read as more of like a professional, crafted video. So. I guess the last thing too, I was trying to think if there's anything else, like the storytelling itself can show if it's professional or not. So like the example I gave with the Head Start, so like, there's the first example I showed, like there's storytelling going on. You see like the kids getting off the bus, you hear someone talking, but you don't see them yet. Now you see them and they're kind of talking about what, that we're showing what they're talking about. Whereas the other video, it was just kind of like, here's one of the teachers, we're just asking them questions. Like it's fun, but it's not like professional, And there's not a lot of story there. It's like, it's cute, but it's not a narrative, so. Cool. Great questions. Any other questions?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, I think that wraps this up. Any other questions or announcements or anything?